Okay. Welcome back again. As you can tell, I'm working on another 800 XL. This one I've got, let's see, got about 4 of them. And since I got the other one working with, let's see, where is it here? Well, I don't have it handy at the moment, but since I got it running with the MyTech design Rambo XL, the modern reissue. This is the Quartermeg. Let me see here. Yeah, it's right there at the tip of my finger, and it probably won't show up on this old cheapo camera, but it's basically the same thing as the, well, not quite the same thing. I don't think it'll do a 1200 XL, and I think it'll only do the newer version of the Antic chip that has the DRAM refresh. So it's a much smaller board. Also, I don't have it at hand, but I will be, since I'll be opening this up anyways, taking the shield off. I will be doing the, at least, the very least, the chroma mod to this on the bottom of the board. And I'll also be, I may do the Ben Poehlands supervideo mod again on this, but the main thing, and I'll be doing the recapping as well. I've got a cap set, the thing I just mentioned. But the main thing is to get this in there with some, probably 256K RAMs. But I'm going to start with getting this soldered together, at least the stuff mounted on here. And yes, the round nose pliers will come in handy, mainly for doing the, this 33 ohm resistor and the small ceramic cap, which go right down in the corner of the board right there. So I have my solder ready, and then I'll get these pin headers, which will mount to the motherboard, assuming it's socketed. And if it's not, I'll have to do that as well, which will end up going a lot longer because I'll have to unsolder all the RAMs and all the other, one of the multiplexers and the 6520 via chip to get access to pins 12 through 16, which connects to a pin header that will go right in there. And that's in addition to one of the an extra little, what people are calling the DuPont wires, like these, to one of the to what's pin 1 on the all the RAMs, the addressing line, which will be the extra addressing line needed for 256K. Let's see. Just going to make sure this is completely lined up. And of course, as usual, the resistor is not quite lined up. Quite close. It's always one that's going to be a hiccup. And as usual, this will probably be more than one part, at least 2 or 3, maybe 4. Just like my, well, my zip drive video with 130XE, which actually, as I'm recording this, I'm also working on editing the second episode. And the first one should be up by before you see this, and probably the second one too. Probably the whole series, in fact, which I hope won't go beyond part 3, since I've only been really doing 1 video a week. I don't want to rush them all out, all jammed up together. And of course, and I gotta keep fixing my magnifier lamp because that keeps coming loose. Second time today. I really gotta take the time to fix this thing, or maybe replace it since it's almost 20 years old. Oh, yeah. It's always just as I'm about to start soldering something that it pulls loose. Okay, now that's acceptable, at least for me it's acceptable. And in fact, what I'll do since I don't have my perf board, oh wait, yes I do. I do have my perf, or my breadboard handy. I will, let's see. Actually, I got these trimmed off. This is a trick I picked up a couple months ago from some other YouTuber doing electronics and old computers. I forget who it was now, but he had a good idea of when doing these pin headers. Putting them in the perf board so they would go straight. so they would stay straight while being soldered to the PCB. And of course, well, you know what? I got them too far apart. You can see what I did there. And I've set them by mistake. Should have done it this way from the get-go, because these are the same spacing as a standard 1610 narrow IC socket. And I know you're having trouble seeing this because of the camera position, but I've got to be able to see it to get it right. One pin has popped up. Of course, I'll probably be recording this over a few days as usual, because I'm starting this fairly late again, which sometimes happens. God damn it. Well, I've had a look at this magnifier lamp a couple of times. I keep missing, well, I know where the problem is, but I'm not seeing what exactly where part is failing in that particular joint. I may do a video on that sometime. Maybe one of my quick trick videos, which I haven't done in quite a long time. Actually, I'll get that little blob of solder off that one pad down here. And I did by mistake, because I'm going to be doing those next. Getting the sockets in. Cleared up, I think, mostly. Should probably do trim that probably can't see that, but it's cleared out. So sometimes those things happen. And I will give this a quick clean. Get some of the flux off the top side. That's going to be nearly impossible once I get those 3 sockets in. And I always try to get the notch for pin 1 lined up the way it is on the PCB layout, so I can avoid getting any of the chips in backwards during the assembly. I'll have to dig out the other 2, and this is the 150A, the spare one. That one is, I may end up just reusing the one from on the computer's main board. Because this replaces one of the 2 multiplexers on the 800 XL main board. And it actually does the same job, just for the 256K RAMs instead of the instead of the 64K. As you can see, the hard part here is this one row that goes in between the row of pin headers. But unavoidable to keep these boards as small as possible. And hopefully I'll be able to find the website for this design so I can put it in the description. I was looking for it yesterday and I couldn't find it again, even though I saw it a few months ago when I first got these, and I was having trouble with this on the larger Rambo XL, the MyTech version, which I'm working on another board, and that other 800 XL. I've taken a break from it for a few months. And when I get my backlog of repairs done, I'll get back to that and get that fixed. But it had several problems which prevented this from working. And when I first started on it, I thought the computer was working okay, but clearly when I started doing the RAM upgrades, it unmasked some other faults, which gave me all kinds of frustrations. So, like I said, took a break from that to clear my backlog of other repairs and upgrades. I've got a few 1050s to work on. I tried not just recap them, but there's some that aren't working with a few different errors. get them working and also get them some. I want to get them with all double density upgrades too. So 3 of them that Jurgen, TFHH does. And I'll have to remember to link his site in the video I do of one of those drives. I won't do a video of each one because, well, probably not, because even though there's a few different errors, I might do maybe 2 videos of 2 different errors and how I solved them. So maybe anybody else watching might have a point of reference to check of what things they might check. But of course, with those things, it helps to download a PDF of the service manual. Actually, for the 800 XL or 600 XL or any of the Atari stuff or any other computer stuff, if you can get a service manual, you should, because that'll probably cut down the troubleshooting time you'll have to put in. That's no guarantee. One more pad to do. Not there. And a few more here. And that'll be all 3 sockets. And then I'll put in some right angle pin headers, which I prefer for the 800 XL because it just makes it easier to fit them in the case, or for me to fit them in the case. Yes, so and those will go right there. It's still a bit hot, but yeah. Pin header will go right there, and there's one that goes to the resistor on the main board, right here. And the other 5 go through pins 12 through 16, I think. I should look that up because this uses the same pinouts as the ICD version from years ago. It's just a more compact model. That doesn't, it just covers the, like I said before, the 800 XL. And no 1200 XL, it's just the 800 XL with the newer version of the Antic, which is what handles the RAM refresh in our friendly neighborhood 8-bits. So anyways, back in a second when I get on with the rest of it. Oh, okay, as you can see, I've done some more work on this, which on this computer, which I didn't record. Anyways, what you might notice is that right here, with the VIA, the pins 12 through 16, which normally go unused, which go up to the RAM or the Quartermeg board, which is over here. But anyways, I tried to use some of these pin headers here to just slide the, and as you can see, it didn't work out too well. The plastic would either melt and deform, or it would just break when I was working on it. So I ended up soldering the wires directly to here, and which you can see I just plugged those into some matching DuPont wires, which I ran over to the Quartermeg board here. And since I'd ordered several of these Quartermeg boards months ago, I decided to try one of them out, see if I could get it working. Since if it didn't work, all I'd lose was the board itself, 3 sockets, a resistor, and a capacitor, which is a 34 ohm and I think a 0.1 microfarad marked 104, which is right in that corner there. But anyways, I'll give you a bit of a spoiler that it does in fact work. I tried it out earlier tonight, and the only problem I had is I had accidentally reversed the one chip in U16. I think it's this one right there. And once I put it back the right way, it booted up fine. I was able to boot up to MIDOS and run Satantronics RAM tester. More on that later as I run the test again. Show at the end of the video, show it to you to show it working. One thing you'll notice is some of these, actually the sockets are a bit uneven, which if you can see down here, the resistor which goes from pin 2 of each RAM IC, which is the data out pin, to a trace that connects up almost under the IC again, which I think those run to, yeah, those are the ones that run down here, which I know you're going to have trouble seeing with my cheap camera, but anyways, and those take the data line to the rest of the data bus on the computer. And yeah, so and that basically doesn't let the sockets sit perfectly even. As you remember seeing in the earlier part of the video, the original RAM chips, which I have, I think, is this them? Yeah, this is them here. Yeah, that's them right there. These are some old MT RAMs, which are soldered directly onto the board. And anyways, contrary to what you've probably heard a lot of here on YouTube, that these things are disreputable, well, personally I haven't had any of them fail on me yet. This set of 8 still works, but I took them all out because I wanted to put in 256K, and the 41 256s actually, as it turns out, are also MT RAMs, and they're all working. So basically, for the time being, I'm just going to leave them all in there, because for now they do work, and as long as they keep on working, I'll just leave them. So anyways, another reason I'm not showing this with my regular setup in the other room working yet is there's some things that I want to do. One of which is I want to replace all the electrolytic caps like these here and this and over here and all that. Well, let's see how many of them are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's about 7 or 8 or maybe 9 of them on the board. I want to change all those. I do have a replacement set from console 5, and also some of the stuff in this area I want to basically do the Ben Poehlands style video mod on this as well, and also put in the 5-volt supply to the PVI port. And of course, as I haven't done it yet, I haven't put in the Luma wire which goes over in this vicinity. I'll put that in as well so I can use S-video properly on this. But yeah, basically it could do with a little bit of video, at least a minimum of video upgrade to keep it, the video quality a bit better on the S-video. So anyways, I won't drag you through doing all that again because you've already seen that before, so I'll bring it back in a second or two when that's all done and you can see the thing in operating condition and going back into its case after so long. So see you in a second. So here we are at the end of the video at long last. As you can see, I got my 800 XL set up in my big stack of 80s style bedroom setup recreation kind of thing. And as you can see, it's in the usual spot where my main 800 XL with the ultimate 1 megabyte in Side3 normally sits for testing purposes. And I will hook it up to one of the drives and 1 or 2 of the cards to show you that it does work. Something that was part of the super video mod, the old style, that I don't always do, but I did put in this switch, which is a composite video disable. Because one thing that's a part of the mod is the composite video does get mixed in with the Luma signal on here, which actually before I put the chroma mod in, the separate chroma line, which Atari stupidly left out, is I noticed that it was still getting color before the chroma mod when I was using the S-video interface, which, if you remember a video from a few years ago, I showed this. And anyways, the down position here, it's the composite is disabled, so you just get the separate chroma and Luma. And that's the normal part of the mod. Anyways, and of course in the up position you get composite video for TVs or monitors that don't have S-videos or S-video, which a lot of the current ones, unlike this, most of the current LCDs will typically maybe have one composite input and no S-videos. Luckily, this does have an S-video input, so I can show you both on this TV. Anyways, I'm just going to plug this in and bring you back in a second. Okay, I'm going to turn it on with the S-video first, with the composite disabled. Now hopefully you'll notice there is a little bit of sort of almost like a jail bar effect, sort of, and a little bit of interference maybe you might see from my power supply, which, although it's a new one and it does work, it still does a bit of RF noise despite my efforts to filter it out, so I'll probably replace that soon. Okay. you can see, those set the right and left margins. And I did a mistake there. Okay, yeah. This sets the left margin to 0. And 83, I should have set to 39 here, which sets the right margin. So you get the full 40 columns. Anyways, I don't know if you'll be able to see it with this camera, but I'm going to turn on the composite video back on right now. And I can see a bit of a difference, at least on the basic programming screen. It's off and on and off again. Now we'll reboot to the cell test screen. There. It's off and on again and back off. I'll try the audio visual test and see if I can show the difference there. Now it's still off and on, composite video, and off again, on and off. And using this video with the composite off is a bit visible, but here, what I'll do, I can show you that it is working. Just unplug the audio there, and I'm plugging in the composite leads, and I'll switch the TV over to the composite input. Now you can hear the audio, and the composite is of course off. I hit the switch again, and it's back on. And that's the composite input there, so you can see the composite doesn't look as good just through a composite input on the same TV. So you can see a bit of the color artifacting as well. So I'll put the cable back. And you'll see it start up with the disc. I'm just going to boot up with one of my floppy drives you just saw a couple minutes ago. And you should sort that out so the high-speed I/O gets turned back on again. It does come in handy. And as you can see, it's got my DOS, and let's see. Let's see, initialize disk 9, which is my RAM disk. And I'll type yes. Okay, yeah, you can see 1522 pre-sectors, hopefully right there in the corner. (1522) sectors, which is, let's see, directory first, so I can get their file name right. Now this XRAM 220 is the corrected version of the Side3 extended RAM test. I've seen it on a few YouTube channels, and you might see there in the upper corner it was 2019, and that was corrected after several years because of an error in the previous version on this Quartermeg upgrade, and the all the ones based on the House Buchholz 256K upgrade, including even the ICD Rambo upgrade, is it would identify the wrong number of banks. It would say 240K free RAM, which I think was maybe 14 or 15 banks, I forget. Well, anyways, probably 15 banks, I guess, because there are 16K banks. And it would also always report an error up in this area here, I believe, at the X8X range, which there isn't even a bank there normally, so in these upgrades. So yeah, this does in fact work. I'm going to have the S-video on all this time, but yeah. And that's off. And that's on. You don't really see too much of a difference here. I'll shut this off and try with some SQ on Factalis, which always has a good colorful title screen. And this is the composite off through the S-video port. And there it is on. And back off again. That's just S-video. And this is the S-video or composite on again. Again, if you're not seeing it, don't worry. It's not a huge difference. It's not a huge difference, but it is a bit of a difference. There's the composite on. And there's composite off again. On. And off. Okay, well, enough of that, but anyways. Yeah, I will put on some actually I'll put on some of this here. This is one I got from Best Electronics a couple months ago now. And as you see, it's a Bruce Lee famous Datasoft game on a cartridge, which makes for some very short loading times. Now that's composite off, composite on. I'll try a bit of this. This is the composite off, by the way, just S-video on itself. found a glitch. So I'll restart this. I've never had the game do that before. Yeah, despite having had this game, had this game for a couple months again, I hadn't really played it for 40 years, so as you can see, I haven't really gotten used to it again. Yeah. As I remember back in the 80s, I wouldn't get beat up that easy. I'll just do another couple spins or two and then finish it off for now, because I'm sure if you want to see the rest of the game, you can get it yourself by whatever means. I won't complain if you download it at this point, because at this point it's pretty much abandonware, so I mean, I'm not sure if Datasoft even exists anymore, and they haven't been selling this game for probably at least 35 or more years, so I doubt that anyone's going to complain too much if you actually downloaded it to give it a try. Or you could do what I do and just actually get it. And you could just get it from Best Electronics. Okay, well, I'm going to shut it off for there, and I'll see you in the next video.